Good.
It's not showing.
Did you do the try the privacy again and then?
Cameras are moving.
You may have to change camera settings on your meeting.
How do you do that?
Under where the camera is, like that little carrot.
I need to do this.
No, it should be the one that's up there. I guess we just won't be on camera today.
We'll mess with it but we can go ahead and start.
All right, let's begin with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everybody to the Marion County Commission meeting, November 27th, payday meeting. Begin with public comments. Any public comments? If not, let's move into agenda approval. Anything to add to the agenda?
Like a little 5-minute discussion on Highway 50s and Indigo Road intersection.
Anything else? Not, agenda is approved, and let's move into administrative. Ashley?
Okay. First, we have the sales tax for November in the amount of $79,179.71.
Okay.
Let's go to payday first before we do minutes. We do have a payment for Elcon Properties in the amount of $1,500.
Okay, are there any questions on that invoice? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'd make that motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dahlke, second by Commissioner Becker. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0.
And that was the only one. So then our final payday numbers is $2,350,642.39.
Questions?
There was 2 health bills of 6,000. Did I read that right? 6,000 something a piece on the health department.
We ordered the cabling and all the cameras and all of those things. Let me look and see.
I don't know if I didn't go back over it and see if.
No, must be, oh, if it was in the health department, because I don't see any 6,000s here, those were vaccines.
Vaccine medicines, okay.
Yeah, I looked at those too the last time because they were
Okay.
a lot, but it's vaccines.
All right, no, that's answered my question.
Oh, go ahead, Larry.
No, that's those two up
It's
there.
up there right now. So.
Go ahead, Ken.
On page 4, there was one there, under jail, KVK 139450, and it says preventive maintenance. Is that a maintenance contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. I didn't have any.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Okay.
Next are the minutes of November 12th, November 15th, and November 18th.
Okay, the 15th was the canvas, right?
The 15th, yes.
Okay, let's do that one separate.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got the minutes of the 12th and the 18th.
Mhm.
Any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Becker, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Dalkey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
And then,
The canvas.
Yep.
Any
I'll abstain.
motion approved by Commissioner Garing, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Crowfoot, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 4 in favor, 1 abstain.
and they're all tagged here for you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next thing I have is to talk about the destruction of some ballots. According to statute, after 22 months, we are to destroy ballots, envelopes, and any associated records with any general or any federal and state election after 22 months. And city school is after 6 months. So we have the primary and general of 2022, which is a federal and state one, so it's been 22 months. And we also have a general of 2023, which is a city school, and so that's been 6 months. So we are needing to shred those. You guys, as the board, are to elect, to approve 2 electors with integrity and good repute, and members of the 2 major political parties, which we do have Joe Ottensmeyer and Jan Helmer that are willing to do that, if you guys agree with that, and then I would just need you to make a motion for that.
Question?
I nominate both of those.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Crowfoot to nominate Joe Ottensmeyer and Jan Helmer as the electors, second by Commissioner Garing. Questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
They go in the shredder truck, do they?
Yep, and that comes on December 10th, so, or, yeah, December
I mean,
10th.
you don't have to do them here in the office by hand through a machine.
No, no.
It's easy.
Otherwise, if no questions, that's it for me.
All right. Did you have a question for Ashley? Okay. Tina, administrative?
All right, in the packet you have my report. The health department building is coming along nicely.
It's activity.
Yeah, there's a lot happening over there. We did have, I don't know, I want to make sure that you saw that the cost share application that we submitted for 290th was denied, so we did not receive that. Did anybody have questions about anything in the report?
The Christmas party,
Christmas party is scheduled now, and it's it'll be December 21st at 6 o'clock at the Legion in Florence.
And we will have your invites for you.
Okay.
We'll print them off.
I guess this should maybe tie in with when I talk about Highway 50, but also Harvey County is gonna put a bridge in on Indigo after it turns into Harvey County in that last mile. So I wanted to update, I don't know whether Road and Bridge has talked to Harvey County, whether you've heard anything, Tina. I just heard it yesterday or day before, over the week, last week.
Okay.
That's, if they close it right at 70th, the county line, We have a lot of traffic on that road and probably getting back to 50. I don't know where they're gonna close or what they're gonna do, but that's the county line road, 70th, so at least talk to Steve, make sure he's aware of it.
I'll reach out to Anthony over at Harvey County and see what he can tell me about it.
Yeah, because, so that we're prepared, because a couple of them residents probably needs a lot of sand down through there, so that they don't dust everybody up completely.
Okay.
Since the cost share on 260th, 290th is denied for the fourth time, I'd like permission to work with Tina and Steve on the possibility of an economic development grant on 330th between Tampa and Quail Creek. Right now, that's our worst paved road, and we already have it planned for rebuild. But with the feedlot expansion going in there, there's gonna be a lot more heavier traffic, and economic development doesn't have a application deadline timeline. It's open.
So the feedlot that's already there is expanded?
Yes, significantly. It's also Santa Fe Trail route. I guess in my mind, I think it would be a good candidate for economic development. Also, we don't have to wait till spring to apply. We can apply as soon as we have it
It's a good idea.
put together, and that's actually what we used on 290th.
Right.
But just to gather information and then present for consideration after talking with Tina and Steve. That- Okay.
Reason why. It's already a project that's high on the list, we just need funding for it, so it's not like we're creating a project.
And need to make sure that Steve agrees that that fits in the forward. If that's agreeable, we'll start investigating and get information.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Tina?
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and have Josh come in here. In your packet, you may have noticed that we had some bids for a backhoe. So, Josh, you wanna just go sit down and let them know what's going on with your backhoe over there at the transfer station? And we bought it in 2019, I believe.
Yeah, that's beginning of 2019 is when they.
Yeah, so that's,
It's- Yeah, this year alone, we've had over $12,000 bill on it, for internal breakdown on it. The backhoe piece of it, the holes, there's no bushings in it, but the pins are fine, but the holes are starting to waller out. Can't keep keepers on it, so they're having to kind of cobble it to keep them keepers in there. It's becoming more of a safety issue and stuff. Was kind of looking at trying to replace it as soon as we could.
How many hours does it have on it?
Oh, offhand, I'm not 100% sure.
But it's constantly,
It's constantly getting used, some days
Use
it's,
every day.
yeah, it's a use every day, talking about 5.5 days it's using
yes.
and always packing, so. For its use, I know other counties, they do a replace every 3 to 4 years. I'm not saying that it's what we have to do, but that just kind of gives you a line of some of the other counties I've talked to.
I've seen the holes are oblong now, but they're not round anymore.
yeah, the thing that was concerning to me was the safety issue with the pins and the being able to keep that together. So
It's not a safe procedure.
anyway, there are two quotes in your packet. There was a third one which was higher.
It was
So
higher.
the lower quote was from Foley for a Caterpillar. Tom Hollab looked at both of these and was fine with either one of them. I had Josh kind of run it by him too, so. The John Deere was 164, you can see in your packet, 376.
Any trade-in or anything?
No, if we have, our backhoe goes down, we were always borrowing from road and bridge. I was more in hopes to be able to just kind of keep this one as a backup. And then when we replace, then that one can go, you know, that way I'm not always borrowing and, you know, having to go down and fix tires for them on their backhoe because we used it and we're getting nails in our tires. You know, I don't know if that's something, you know, really, you really want to get rid of it when we purple wave it too, so.
We had a lease purchase on that piece of equipment. Was
Yes.
that a 3-year or 5-year?
I
I was
don't
thinking we just
remember.
paid it off last year.
Yeah, we just paid it off.
It was a 5-year.
I think it must have been a 5-year.
You have a cat?
We have John Deere right now.
And my, this piece of equipment, there is not sufficient funding in the capital improvement or the capital outlay line for the transfer station to
Say,
purchase.
we'd have to
So
do
we
a
would, it
lease
would be a
purchase.
lease purchase. And, I would, you know, want to know how many years you'd want to go. I would say we'd probably go 5 years again, but that's up to you all.
Guess you never know how it's gonna, this one lasted 5 years, I guess.
We push a lot of trash. Other places don't push so much trash as what we do. C&D, that's what I meant. Other places just push trash. Little difference between pushing C&D and pushing trash. I think one of our biggest problems is probably already gone. But maintenance and drivability and just pure operator experience and knowledge, this machine shouldn't be in the shape it's in. I'll just tell you, it shouldn't be. But it goes 8 hours a day, all the time. I think if you wanna look at something, I think you need to instruct your supervisor to make some accordingly adjustments. Josh is a good person. He knows what equipment maintenance is. And I think it needs to be on a daily basis, maybe not on a once a month basis. And make sure that everything's greased and all this. I mean, grease goes a long ways. And I know when we bought it, we didn't expect to be buying one this quick. So, Josh, I'm just putting the burden on you because it literally is your problem.
Yeah.
I mean, and somehow we've got to get some maintenance on it. Plus, other places don't use thumbs. Take a look at our new trailer that's been there less than, 2 months now? About 2 months.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of dings in it already. These trailers are costing 80-some thousand a piece now. We've got to make some improvements on maintenance and how we do things. And I'm just stating it like the facts are in my mind. Thank you for the speech, I appreciate it. Hope somebody takes heed of it. Thank you.
Josh, on this C&D causes most of the dings, doesn't it? I mean, once it gets in to unload, something gets crossways.
If you're packing and stuff, there's sometimes that bucket does go in because, you know, if you're packing over the edge and you can't see that edge here, you know, it doesn't matter what kind of operator you will be, you're gonna catch that trailer too. So, you know, a lot of it, you just kind of have to watch the other side of the trailer. If it starts moving, you just kind of move away and you keep going, you know.
You had to take C&D, I
What
guess.
other kind of equipment do people use to pack?
It's either a backhoe or some of them even use some sort of an excavator type deal, but it's one of the two. But they're using we've still got teeth on our buckets. We've got the thumb and thumb's handy. I love thumbs, but I mean to move stuff around down in the hole or wherever you're doing it. But other places, like I said, maybe we need to take a look at C&D and see, but you just said it, we don't have enough money to buy another trailer, probably.
Not this year.
Not to have extra trailers, to have these gentlemen put it C and D in a separate trailer, and then talk to Butler County and see if we can get a lower price on C and D. And maybe instead of paying $40 to $50 a ton, whatever we're paying down there now, maybe they would give us a C and D rate if we had a full load of C and D to go down instead of do you mix C and D with?
We do.
We do, I thought we did. And so maybe that's some of our fault too, for not taking a good look at what we could do with Butler County. And because we're paying the high price for everything, and C and D is usually about $10 to $15 under trash per ton.
Have you priced that last
What
year?
it is, Josh.
We're paying $40 a ton right now down there, so, I never priced the C and D going in separate or anything.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying, we haven't done that, and, I mean, I was one, and I don't remember which other commissioner went with me to when we started with Butler County. And so, they looking at us as, I've heard from the inside source down there, they're looking at us as a cash cow. I mean, take a little more trash and there's money, operation money down there. And that's all right, I mean, they provided us a good deal. But maybe they could provide us another one if we can step up. So just because we're doing it this way now, don't mean we have to continue, so.
Well, you could direct Josh to check on those prices, just to see.
Well, I think it'd have to be a commissioner decision, Kent, whether Butler County would, I mean, the prices is certain, you can find those out, but Butler County commissioners would have to be the ones to make the decision whether we could even do it. That's where the first thing would be, so. So anyway, just for, cause you've heard me for 5, 6 years, what's our operational fund doing in this department? Are we getting enough tax in? Are we not? Are we making sure that everything's charged the proper rate? And you've heard me harp a couple times, I'm harping maybe my last time on it, so I'm just telling you, there's some work to be done here if we're gonna keep it, unless we're gonna raise the $120 up to $140 per household or more.
Eventually we'll have to, because Butler County is raising their rates, and over the next 5 years, we're gonna be over $50 to $53 a ton in the next 5 years.
So,
We've also talked about professional management of the transfer station and or selling it.
yeah, and I'm just, there's a lot of things out here that we need to look at for the future. I think it's a good thing to look for the future. Not just now, our people do a good job of what they do, it's just, you've gotta manage them sometimes and make sure that that everybody's seen that backhoe come down the hill, spin a kitty and go back up the hill. You just don't treat a backhoe like that.
Do we do the minimum maintenance here, road, bridge, change oil and all that stuff?
My guys they change the oil and stuff,
I
so.
was gonna say, we aren't hauling it in for minimal service.
No. It's just, and Josh has gotta have time to do that. Sometimes he hasn't had time to make sure that everything's greased, oiled, and changed and all that, but it's gonna have to be, because you don't like to see a piece of equipment 5 years down the road just beat to pieces, but it's a tough job down there, so. Josh got a tough job.
On the two of these estimates, do either one have a camera option? Talk about having a hard time seeing over the ledge, a stationary camera.
No, if you did, you'd have to add that on to put it on the bucket, but sometimes it's so fluffy, you start pushing down and half your boom's gone because you're pushing, trying to get it back down, so you're gonna tear it off, you're just gonna.
Camera on the opposite wall of the facility, some way to display in the cab. That way you can watch the backside as you're.
Yeah. I mean, you could, probably, I don't, it'd have to be a wireless deal, and we have to get internet back up there, cause we don't use computers, don't use nothing up there that requires internet, so we don't have it up there.
Something to look into.
And
Guessing game.
I think Josh can make a good evaluation on, I mean, Most places, I haven't seen pushed like we've been pushed when I see the operators operating them. Sometimes they're pushed. I mean, you know, you've got only one hole to put it in, and how much other counties sometimes that we've been at, while watching them operate, they don't have no piles packed up and stacked up and stuff. I don't know, but they're trash people too. When Bud and I went, I think we saw 4 or 5 others, and there was only 1 or 2 others that did the C&D too. So it's a little different game when you got C&D there, and then how does Josh tell people to, oh, you can't come in today, you can't come in next week, I mean, or whatever, if you're gonna do that, or how's he gonna handle it? Then it's gonna cost more to run a trailer down there and run it out to load a load of C&D if it comes in the middle of the day. Yeah, it's a lot of game that Josh has to play, so. But we do need, just what we heard, we don't have the money to do something, so.
Bring it back to the question at hand. Any further questions on the 2 bids? Is there a motion to approve one of the bids?
I would pay.
Yeah, please.
Well, we don't have much choice at this point.
That's right.
You don't wanna be without.
Okay, I'd make the motion to approve the bid from Foley on the cat backhoe in the amount of $163,087.79 for the transfer station, to be financed through lease purchase. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Becker. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Thank you, Josh.
Why don't you just stay there?
Now we have another one.
I've got something else. You didn't know you were gonna have so much fun.
I did not.
That was part 1.
Yeah, so, in your packet, you also had, we finally got an estimate for the repairs of the damage of the walls over there. And so it looks like, so there's 2 areas, right, Josh, that need to be fixed. And so if we do them both at the same, if we do them individually, they're about $5,200 a piece. But if we do them at the same time, you're looking at $6,000 to do both of them.
Mobilization.
Right.
Well, again, it's something that needs to be done.
Josh has filed submitted this to insurance, but I think our deductible is $5,000. So we can still work this through insurance and at least,
So,
How you gonna operate, Josh, when it comes? Can you operate it at the,
We would work around them.
think you could?
Yeah, we could. You know, we just might have to close, one of them's on that south side wall, you know, where we might just have to put a sign up, sorry for the inconvenience, you know, please come around back in to unload, you know, we're doing repairs on the building, so. And the other one's just one little corner up front by the office, it got hooked on it and they didn't think it did and they took off, it chipped it away, broke it away, so. We can work around them, you know, I'm always trying to work with anybody that comes in and doing something in there, you know, keep them going and keep us going.
So you're telling us you can do the one that the lower price then?
Well, that, they'd do those at the same time. If we did them individually, that'd be for one, probably leaving and then coming back later and doing it at the.
yeah, so if we do them at separate times, you're looking at $10,300. If they do them at the same time, you're looking at the $6,131.
Do them both at the same time, I mean.
other questions? If not, is there a motion to proceed?
Motion to proceed with price number 3.
Motion by Commissioner Gehring, is there a second?
Second it.
Second, Commissioner Crowfoot, questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. I think you're all
Awesome.
clear now.
Now you can leave.
I'm cleared.
Thanks, Josh, for being here to answer questions.
Thank
Have a
you.
good Thanksgiving.
You too, Jim. Have a good one.
You guys open Friday, Saturday?
Josh, One more question.
Open Saturday?
Yes, we'll be open from 7:45 to
Somebody
noon.
asked me the other day,
Yeah.
he's closed Friday. So
Yeah, we're closed Friday, but we're open on
somebody
Saturday.
come back Saturday.
Good deal. I think that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Good public relation.
Run fast.
Yeah. All right, fire chiefs, come on in.
I'll
Unless,
have a few more things when we're finished with them.
okay, let's. Who wants the hot seat?
Hey, everybody.
Let me take a hot seat.
Oh, yeah.
You've been in it enough times.
I live in the hot seat. Commissioners,
Yes.
has everyone received a copy of the proposed resolution?
Yes.
Okay. And I have for the audience.
And then there was some language that Brad sent me this morning for which I think we're probably gonna need a few more revisions on that to allow civil or criminal penalties so that we can collect without having to go to court, basically.
To begin with, my name's Dr. Kaiser, Fire Chief, Marion County District 5. I was the chairman of the subcommittee on the burn resolution. Committee members were myself, Deputy Chris Killo, Nathan Bruner, the sheriff sat in on it, emergency management sat in on it also, plus we had a civilian, Chuck McClendon. And for history from the original one was Fred Sheridan. So that was the people that comprised of this committee. We took approximately a year to go through this, and basically we didn't change that much from the original resolution. We added a few things in there that I can go over unless there's any questions first. You want to do that? Otherwise, basically we've added a new website. If you look on, let's see, that's going to be paragraph 2, section 9. Which has the website as www.weather.gov/ICT/fire, which is the website for fire out of the Wichita Weather Office, which is the one that covers our area. The other thing that we added, if you look at the very back of your packet, is a grid setup. And basically what this is, and the reason that this came into being was when we hit very high or above, we don't burn in Marion County by the resolution. Well, we were having problems, if we had, up in the northwest corner, was the only place that was very high, then people in the southwest or southeast couldn't burn. So we've kind of come up with this. We split the county into 4 quadrants, which will allow, if you look at the very high, and I didn't bring a sample of that, but if you look at the way the weather map shows it, it might have a very high area up in quadrant 1. Well, that would mean with this new resolution, if it's approved, is nobody would burn in quadrant 1, but yet quadrants 2, 3, and 4 would be able to burn unless during the day as it transitions, and if it transitions when it changes throughout the day, then those places will also be removed from the burn ability. It made it a little bit easier for the residents of the county to be able to burn when they need to, even though it might be very high in part of the county. The problem that we may see, and it's going to be a living document, so we may have to review it. But let's say that you've got land in quadrant 3 and quadrant 1, the road splits it. Or you're burning half of it in quadrant 3, but you can't in quadrant 1 because you can't burn. That's the only thing that I can see we may have an issue. Or you see your neighbor burning in quadrant 3, but you can't burn in quadrant 1 because of the way the weather is. So that that may be an issue that we'll have to live with and review as we go along with that. The other things that we did, as Commissioner Dahlke said years ago, that 90% of our problem is usually comprised by 10% of the population. So we've added a brush pile. This was the brush pile has been our largest problem dealing with people's burning brush piles. What we have done is we've added the brush pile deal, and it basically, everything is the same except when you're burning grassland, you look at the rangeland wildfire index, you can't burn today. You look at burning a brush pile, you can look, okay, I can burn today. The weather today is great. The weather tomorrow is great. Day number 3 is, okay, we're going to go into very high. We have put a 72-hour window on the brush pile burning. So if you're getting ready to burn a brush pile today, you need to look 72 hours downrange and see what the weather is going to be for the next 3 days to see if it's going to stay within a good area to burn, you know, as far as weather is allowing it. And if it's not, you won't be able to burn. We've also added some stuff that they need to provide to dispatch. If you look paragraph 3, subsection 1A, it talks about what needs to be advised to dispatch as far as how they're going to burn and what the areas of the brush pile is. We've added in paragraph 3, all brush fires shall be attended from the time of ignition until such time as flame height is no greater than 6 to 12 inches. So it's burned way down. The big one here, brush piles should be inspected periodically 2 to 3 times daily throughout the burn cycle, and until such time as the pile is ruled out and cold. Reasonable means, and here is another big one, reasonable means must be immediately available to control or contain the fire. Some people said, well, let's put a specific requirement. You need, you know, X gallons, you need this type of equipment. If we do that, we're coming into a couple different issues. We're coming into unfunded mandates that, okay, you know, Commissioner, you're going to burn this brush pile, you've got to have a truck out here with 1,000 gallons of water. Okay, so let's say he does have that truck with 1,000 gallons of water and the brush pile still gets away. Well, hey, I had what you said I needed and it still got away, so it's not on me. So that's the reason we left it as reasonable means. And then if we have to take it further, if something happens, then we as fire chiefs, we can get together, and if it's my district and I'm looking at it, what I will probably do is I will contact 3 other fire chiefs and say, here is my findings on this. How do you guys rule? So it's that's the way I'm going to do it. That's the way my board wants me to do it. That way, especially if it's a questionable one, then the landowner can't come back and say, well, he just doesn't like the way I do things. So, you know, I've got a buffer zone, and I think a lot of the chiefs like that idea too. Whether they choose to do it or not, you know, is still going to be up in the air. The changes that the county attorney put in, paragraph 4, he changed basically some of the verbiage in paragraph subparagraph 1 from 500 to 5,000 and or a 30-day deal. It's basically 500 to 15,000 and or a maximum of 6 months per occurrence. So that was changed. And then the verbiage on paragraph 2, paragraph 2B, basically he changed the verbiage of how that one was worded as far as makes it flow a little bit better. It makes a little bit more sense on that one. We have added, before we had a fixed rate for what the vehicle charges would be. If you want to go to the last page. Oh, there, back one. There we go. Basically what we did was we took the different types of vehicles that could be involved in this, and we broke it down to an hourly rate per vehicle type or equipment type. If it does not fall within this category, if something's out there that does not fall within this category, then we will defer to the current FEMA schedule of charges, which is out there that they can find online too. That's basically the changes of the resolution in a nutshell. The goal is, if you guys, you know, if you've looked at it, if you agree with what this is saying, our next step will be the 10th of December. I will schedule a open forum at the lake house, or at the county lake, like we did last time when we did the the resolution the first time. That way the public can come in, they can see this, they can, make any comments on it. We can explain it to them. If there are major or serious concerns, then we'll take it back to committee, review it, visit with you guys, look at it, review it, and then take it back out again. I don't feel from talking with, on the civilian side, I don't feel that we'll have any problems with this at this point. So I feel that if it does pass the 10th, if it passes, public scrutiny, then it will come back to the county commission on the 27th for final ratification at your meeting. That way we've got it completed in place prior to the beginning of the year. We've got the burn resolution when we're coming into our new burn season next year. Questions?
Is dispatch on board, because that's gonna take a degree of education with dispatch.
The sheriff has been visiting with them. We'll go to dispatch and we'll go through all of this. And basically, the only thing that's gonna really change on them is some of the questions, and then the new website will be the only difference on that one. Man, did I miss anything?
No, I mean, when we're talking about the brush piles, I just wanna kinda explain a little bit. When you burn off stubble or grass, once you're completed with the burn, it's pretty much out. It's not a hazard anymore. So given that you can burn that day, that's not a concern for us. But when you light a brush pile, that can burn for days and days and days. And so, man, we went back and forth on
We went from
how
24
long.
hours to 96 hours and we settled on 72.
We settled on 72, but again, it's a living document. We may decide to change that in the future. But that gives us a little bit of, it hedges the danger a little bit by giving that brush pile a chance to burn down before it goes into a very high or extreme weather condition. So that's why we put that in.
You had multiple calls from.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I make it my business, if we go into a very high or extreme, I look at the controlled burns that have come in the last 3 days, and if there's any brush piles, I go visit them and make sure they're cold, because it's gonna turn into a fire, in my opinion, so that's what I do. I have that luxury since I'm full-time, I can do that, but not all fire chiefs can do that. So that's why we put that in. And I think, we're setting the rules for the public to know what they should and shouldn't do, as well as what they can and can't do, So I think it works for us. And I really like the quadrant, and you mentioned, someone's gonna look across the line and, no matter where the line is,
Exactly,
that's
we'll
what's
see
gonna
that.
happen, even if
We'll see
it's a
that.
county line, so we chose, the districts was gonna get a little too convoluted.
Yeah.
And so I think the quadrants is
Quadrants is gonna be, there'll be some districts that are split with the quadrant line, but I mean, it's one of those things that we're gonna have to, we had to find a starting point.
Right.
And I think we can move forward from there.
What about the average guy that don't have a water truck, don't have a pump or anything? Is fire departments taking the notion to do some burn offs for people, or, I mean, I know everybody's different, but I'm just saying that, are you?
I understand what you're saying, and I know in the past, a lot of people have done that for training purposes. Some departments do, some departments don't, and basically a lot of that is going to come back to a liability issue. If I drop the match, then as fire department, then fire department is responsible and liable for whatever happens from that. No different than if the landowner drops the match. There's been some talk, and I think that's varied by most of the departments.
Yeah, we'll do it for training purposes.
We'll do it for training, but just to go out and
Only
burn.
for training, and, I mean, yes, the landowner benefits. But I mean, there are contractors, if someone doesn't know how to do it, or there are contractors available that are professional that can do that burn for them if they don't have the equipment or the knowledge.
Well, along that line, I think the enforcement goes a long ways. If I go out and I light my burn pile and I don't have a truck there and it gets away, well, now not only is there a problem, with my neighbors be mad at me, there's financial risk. So then it behooves me to call in a neighbor that has a
has the knowledge and the
As a
equipment.
truck,
Yes.
water truck. Or call in some help, rather than just lighting it and walking it away and being done with it.
Yeah.
The one thing that I failed to mention on the brush piles, if the brush pile is in a pasture area that you're already planning on burning, basically the brush pile is not going to, I mean, that's not going to manifest into that because it's already within a controlled burn area, and it's gonna start because of the pasture burn. Now granted, if it's right at the edge of the boundary or something like that, then dispatcher's gonna ask some questions and the landowner's gonna have to be a little bit smart on that portion of it. But otherwise, like I say, if it's just your standalone brush piles that we see, then that's where we're at. And we dealt with one of those last night down in your neck of the woods. So,
So you would count maybe if you had tillable ground all the way around it and had a pasture of 80 acres or so, and the brush pile gets away and burns that 80 acres, it's your own ground.
and that would be, you know, it depends if they call us or not. I mean, that's where that's gonna have to be, and that's gonna be a judgment call on the chief and stuff like that, you know.
I was just trying to.
I see where you,
what
yeah.
you just said.
Yes. So, I mean, if that's the case, but what I was looking at more is in the reverse orders, if you've got your brush pile in the middle of the field you're gonna burn in and catch it on fire, then this portion of it, the brush pile portion, will not really play into that effect, cause you're already burning a contained area. So,
It's in the right direction for them.
exactly, and as long as you notify, and that's the biggest thing, is getting
What
people.
the ifs?
Getting people to notify, you know, and we've noticed a marked improvement since we put the first one into effect, as far as people calling in, people being more mindful of what they need to do. There's still the few out there, you know, and you're gonna have that no matter what, but there I think has been a marked improvement as far as, at least I've seen that in my district.
Now, the 72 hours might tick some people off, I think, but other than that, you gotta have a limit somewhere, I mean, for a brush pile.
Well, then every brush pile's different. I mean, sometimes you just have a small,
Yeah.
and the next time you've got a mountain
Yeah.
of trees with 3-foot diameter trunks.
And those, it's gonna be,
Needs to be
you're gonna have, you know, 3 weeks down the road, you're gonna get a windstorm and it'll kick it up, so.
Whether it starts something else or not, yeah.
And here's kind of our philosophy too, you know, when you're burning off stubble and pasture, that's for land management, that affects the landowner's income. You know, but usually a brush pile is just for cleanup. You know, it doesn't really necessarily affect that landowner's income so much as being able to do land management burns that we've come accustomed to in this area. So it can be put off. You know, if you can't burn it today because you gotta wait that 72 hours, well, let's look at it next week, you know.
I think most landowners kind of recognize the duration of those burns, because last year was a good example of that. There was a lot of brush piles burning when we were getting those big snows.
Oh, yeah.
That was the optimum time.
Good time to do it. Change gears a little bit. I had to admit ignorance. What's the advance notice now before lighting a fire?
Still, I think
Still the 2 hours?
yes, I believe, 120 minutes, yes, 2 hours. So we still like to have that.
See, the other one, I saw nighttime is discouraged,
It's discouraged, but it's not
prohibited.
correct. And the reason that it's discouraged is, and we all know, everybody that burns know that when the sun goes down, the wind goes down, humidity comes up, so fires are a lot easier to control.
Right.
But when they do get out of control, now I'm out in a field that, you know, I'm not familiar with. It's nighttime, I can't see a lot of the stuff out there, even with headlights and truck lights. And, you know, I'm not gonna see gullies, I'm not gonna see different things that could cause, you know, accidents and so forth with the vehicles. So, but like I say,
We're at a
it's
distinct disadvantage.
very,
Oh,
very much so.
I guess I always thought it was prohibited. Again, that's my ignorance.
In theory,
I was, fire at night is just absolutely no.
it says, if you read it, it does, and they determine that we can go, and there's a lot of places that they look the other way on that portion. It depends on how each county or everybody writes.
That was a struggle that Peabody Fire
Yeah.
had last night.
Yeah, and that's what, yeah, Peabody had that last night.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely, it's dangerous at night.
but yeah, it's discouraged in our document, it's discouraged, but not prevented.
The last question I had was, it details, very detailed on the brush pile burns, what information is needed. But there wasn't a list of what information when you call dispatch on a grass fire.
They have a list,
They already have
yeah,
it.
they have a list of what they ask. And the reason it was put in here, like I say, with it being a new one.
Yep.
So, and I will get with dispatch, and if they would like, I guess we can add a section in there for the grass fire of what they will, information they needed, but they've got kind of a standard in there that they ask.
That's perfectly fine. I know when I call in, it's just a checklist, boom,
Yes.
boom, 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 you know exactly what information you need. So, okay, that's, any other questions for other commissioners? Okay, so the plan is then, to take this to public meeting on December 10th?
That is correct. I'm gonna set that up as soon as I leave here. I'll stop by the lake and I'll set that up with Isaac and get a building over there. And I'll get with the paper to use a, excuse me, do a PSA, putting this out, that we're going to have this public meeting.
Tina, is there any action we need to take?
I don't think so, not right now.
It's just basically a consensus that you guys have done a lot of work, put together a lot of good information.
So,
Anything else?
I have nothing if the commission has nothing, or the,
Well, thank you, Booz, and your committee for all the work you've done and the input into it. I was getting a little scared this fall as dry as it was.
it's still dry.
But we've got some moisture since then to help.
Trust me, it's still burning good. It's still burning very good, so.
Again, thank you for your work on that.
So we have your permission to move ahead forward.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, very good. Randy, did you want to talk some more on the highway?
I'll let you know when I have the revised language.
Yeah, on 50, yeah, are you ready for that?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mentioned to Kent this morning when both of us sitting in here, but there was another accident at Highway 50 and Indigo Road, which turns into Harvey County. It's down there. It's in Harvey County, the intersection, but I've been around Peabody for all my life, and that intersection is taking some lives. And if you drive it every day, people start jockeying around do different things clear back at the Walton curve back there. They know that if they got traffic behind them, some of them slowing down and letting people get around them, and so that they don't have that problem. But it's always the people either slowing down, gonna turn, they either turn in front of somebody or some get hit behind. I don't know what the case was this weekend on that situation, but it's just a rough corner intersection, and I think Harvey and Marion County needs to get together and ask for some studies. Would be the first thing I think that we need to ask the state to see if they could put it on their state list and see if we can do some improvement for that intersection, because we've just seen so many. I don't even have a clue how many. But if you go a year without one, you're lucky. And so I don't know. I was just thinking that
Check the headline.
send a message, get with Harvey County, and maybe Tina's when she's going to talk to Schwartz and Druber, bring it up, or Commissioner Hagg's going to go off over in Harvey County, but I know him real well. See if he could bring it up over there. I don't. You guys know what I'm talking about, I think. So if you think of any better ideas, let me hear it. I mean,
It's very dangerous.
It's just a challenge every time you turn, you gotta,
yeah,
I think you start planning.
you start jockeying around, clear back at the passing lane when it starts.
Speed up or slow down.
Yeah, right, and then it don't work sometimes, depends on the traffic coming at you, sometimes your plan A don't work. And so you gotta change your plan right quick like, and when you get a
There is a
car,
turning lane there.
yeah, but if you get a car turning Indigo, or in Harvey County going Indigo, and a car turning the road going to Peabody, and you're planning on the third person back's planning on zooming right on around, all of a sudden you're in trouble. And so it's not safe driving, I guess, but it's just an intersection that I think could be studied, and I know it's gonna cost some money for the state or something, but I think we just need to send a letter of concern and see what we can do unless somebody has a different plan.
Yeah, if you're coming from the west and you have to wait on traffic to turn, you look in your rearview mirror and you're just holding your breath.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my wife, I think I've got her.
Off the brake and took off and went to the next mile road, cause I was pretty certain nobody was gonna stop.
You just got that feeling that nobody's going to, yeah.
Defensive driving. I mean, just,
Right.
but not everybody's built like that.
No, and I think that's what's happened sometimes, so.
I don't know what it takes for KDOT to key in some kind of study, but I mean, when you got X number of fatalities on a corner, you would think that would just jump right to the top of the list.
I can go back 60 years and remember terrible accidents there, this killed 2 and 3 and stuff.
Would it be agreeable to sign the project to Tina and Steve and John, investigate what our process would be to work with KDOT to
Yeah, and I would help Tina, whatever, if we need to go to Topeka to just to publicly speak, I mean, I'd have no problem with that. And, just get somebody aware of it, maybe get it on the radar.
Thank you. Anything else?
I have some more business.
Oh, yes, finish up administrative.
In your packet, you have a purchase request to replace the laptop to purchase a laptop for mapping. And the idea would be, the ones that we have had in the past, you don't have the capability of doing the mapping programs when you're out and about. The idea would be to replace it with something that, in case of an emergency or we had to move to a different location, that we would still be able to produce the maps. And so they are asking for a laptop that has similar capabilities to what they have in the office. And Lloyd's recommendation was actually, in this case, the higher priced unit,
The I-9.
the i9, which is the $5,147.01. So it's a pricey piece of equipment, but for the capabilities that you have to have, it's a little different than a regular, what most people would utilize in a laptop.
LTE compatible to where it can be added, the LTE to where wireless, so the wireless like internet added to it. So like a lot
Oh,
of
got you.
my iPads and stuff have the capability, I just don't have.
I don't know the answer to that. Generally speaking, though, we have Wi-Fi or a hotspot. I can ask.
Yeah, I guess if you have a Wi-Fi or
I
hotspot.
think the whole computer's got Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but I meant, some of like, or tablets are like, we get updates and stuff, and we have the capability of having the cellular on them. So you don't have to have Wi-Fi or anything, you can get your documents reloaded.
Costs more, yes.
Yeah, it costs a monthly subscription, but we buy them that way, but we don't pay for the plan. But if we ever needed it, we
Yeah, mine is,
could add it in.
I have to have Wi-Fi to get mine to work. Off my hotspot off my phone usually.
Any other questions on the purchase request?
Recommend that we go with the 13th, the I9.
We have a motion from Commissioner Crowfoot to proceed with the I-9 at $5,147.01. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garing. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
You always buy the biggest computer that day because it's gonna be outdated tomorrow. Be another one bigger.
Okay, 2 more things that I have. Let's see. I intended to put the current cold weather gear resolution in your packet, but I don't think I got it in there, so. I wanted to just revisit with you on the cold weather gear. Currently, we have a resolution that authorizes the reimbursement of up to $100 a year for people that cold weather gear as personal protective equipment for employees working outdoors during extreme conditions. And so they've done the requirement is that they would be working outdoors for at least half the time during the winter months. So, there were specific items that were designated as cold weather gear. Those were laid out in the resolution as coat, insulated coveralls, insulated boots, work boots, or insulated bibs. So we have had some requests in the past that have not fallen into those specific categories. And we have one now that has been turned in, and it's for gloves and a like a sweatshirt. And it's, the person does utilize that equipment for their job. However, we are initially had denied it because it did not fall into one of these categories. So I just want to ask if your intention is still the same, that these would go toward the more expensive type items that somebody would need for cold weather gear, or whether you want to expand that in any way.
When was that resolution?
This was in 2018.
Been a while.
Yeah.
I guess just hearing it, I thought gloves would have been included, but again, it's not a higher dollar item.
Right, that's kind of what
But they're
was.
See
They
insulated,
could be.
I can see insulated gloves, but I can't see going and buying a K-State or KU
Well,
hoodie.
I mean, it's a 12 ounce or better, a 16 ounce sweatshirt.
I do not know the answer to that, and I don't know how anybody knows that if they don't work in textiles.
It says, I know. I mean, I'd say 12 or 14 ounces and up is viable, because you can wear that as an outer garment. And Jonah probably has 12 ounce sweatshirts. He doesn't have any 8 ounce sweatshirts.
Do you know the ounces of all your sweatshirts, Jonah?
I just go by the feel.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, there's,
You know, if I had a question like that, I would ask somebody. Like, hi, this is food I wear.
So I just need to know if you want to approve that request for that reimbursement. It is for somebody that, the position is a mechanic. So working in a vehicle and around a vehicle, you might not be able to wear a coat. But it's also not a high dollar item. You know, other people have to provide whatever clothing is required for their jobs, whether they have to dress a certain way or whatever. So anyway, I'm just,
going to individual decisions or not, or that's, we need a rule.
we have a policy.
We have a policy.
So I'm going by the policy unless you change the policy, and then I'll go by the new policy, so.
Because if it's a Carhartt sweatshirt, it's a heavy duty shirt, but it's Fruit of the Loom, no.
that's easier to understand than
You
ounces.
don't really consider a hoodie as extreme weather gear.
This is it's a workman hoodie,
So it's a heavy.
so I'm sure it's a heavy duty one. And then the gloves are, you know, a waterproof winter work gloves for cold weather. So,
Well, I think the intent of the deal was to buy whoever, whether it be road and bridge, whether it be the transfer station, whether it be police or whatever. The police has always has their stuff marked, things like that usually. But, you know, $100 don't go nowhere no more. And I guess if somebody wants to spend it on gloves, and that's their, like a mechanic and needs it because that's what they do, I don't have no problem with that. But we didn't add that to it or anything at the time. We were just looking at boots and overalls, what you said.
right.
So I think that needs to be maybe changed for certain jobs do need certain things. And I'd say a mechanic would, because you're always dinking with your hands. So
So the question of the commission is, do you want to let the resolution stand, or do you want to amend it?
I'm just gonna go get a coat and spend $100 either way, so, I mean, it's, how do you let them spend it on this or let them spend it on that?
Kemp had another suggestion there. He said, don't go spend it on K-State. hoodie. I mean,
Yeah,
That's, I don't know, it popped in my
I think the
Well, if it's
resolution.
a,
would
even
be-
if it's a work style,
Work gear.
work gear, even if it has something on it. I mean,
most work gear won't be,
yeah, generally not, but.
Other than Carhartt.
you can, but
Not seeing any
it's kind of gray area.
intention to change it.
I mean, a heavy hoodie or sweatshirt does wonderful things in the cold and the wind. You ever, I mean, you've all been out, flipped up your hood. And the mechanic works a lot outside on equipment.
Yeah, still
I
waiting.
don't know how you change it though.
Well, I mean, the way you would change it would be to decide that you want to expand the policy and adopt a new resolution. And in the meantime, you could make a decision whether or not to allow the reimbursement for this particular request.
could you just add an amendment to it too?
It'd be better just to adopt a whole new resolution to circumcise, like take the place of the
Be classified as workwear.
You're the chief in that department.
I'd be open to, I mean, I get where it's coming from too. Mechanic's gonna be in and out of the shop. I mean, yeah, I'm supposed to think of the company as a overall, but the mechanic being in and out of the shop, not, and then climbing underneath things, getting oily, greasy, getting caught up in things. I'm okay with opening it up.
All right, then I'd make the motion that we revisit the resolution on winter wear, expanding it to include gloves and work sweatshirts. And also, in the meantime, approve the application for the gloves and sweatshirt.
You made the motion?
Yes. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Dalkey. Discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Carried 5-0.
So one more question, do you wanna keep it at the $100?
That was,
How many employees do you think we have using it right now?
A few
50? 25?
more I don't know the answer, I'd have to check, but not 50.
Most companies that we deal with are going from $300 to $500 per employee now.
That's a,
Well, I know it's a big jump, but that's
that's a,
what the industry, I mean, I'm talking about John Deere dealerships and construction companies and.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was,
know about government entity.
I was
No,
thinking,
they're
it,
not-
maybe go from 100 to 125 or 150, and I wouldn't say jump to that level. So if you wanna leave it the same, that's fine too. I think that people have been appreciative of the ability to utilize that and get the reimbursement, but
I would move to include,
How many requests do you get per year?
that's, Dave asked that, I don't really know.
Might be
I'd have to
50, might
check.
be 40 one year and 5 the next, I suppose.
I'd make the motion to also include in the resolution increasing the amount of reimbursement from $100 to $150.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dalkey. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carried 4.
Cause it is one time a year, right?
Yes.
Annual.
Every 12 months.
All right.
Okay,
Anything
so,
else? Commissioner?
yes,
You did say 2 more things.
I did. I haven't had my list. So the last thing that I have would be the approval of the budgeted pay raises. We did put in the budget for 2% cost of living in January, and then also for a July step raise. So if we could at least have approval, if the board is ready to do that for the January pay raises, that gives us time to get things ready during the month of December.
Questions or discussion?
It's budgeted. Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Garing to approve budgeted pay raise and July step raise. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I didn't hear. Either.
I'm a yes, aye.
Okay, 5 in favor. Motion passed.
Thank you, that will allow us to get things ready. That's all I have.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, that's it. Just a reminder that KAC is, so our next meeting is December 2nd, our next regular meeting, and then KAC is the 3rd through the 5th. So I'll have packets for you all for, at Monday's meeting with all your information. We do have the reservations, hotel, ready to go.
That's another thing, the new electeds coming in January, do they have the opportunity to attend it at their expense or anything?
I don't know if the registration is still open for that.
Okay.
I can check. Then we
That'd be
also,
beneficial. I mean, especially if they're able to go or willing to go.
we do have, there is a new commissioner training that's scheduled in January.
Okay.
So that's typically where the new commissioners would go.
Okay.
So, but we can sure talk about that.
Okay, anything else? If not, I move to adjourn. Second, Commissioner Gearing, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We are adjourned. See you on Monday.